Hey everyone, John here from 4 Brewers with Matt from
Hi.
4 Brewers, and I'm back with another beer from my cellar. Today we are drinking the North Coast Brewing Company Old Stock Ale 2014,
Aged in wheat whiskey barrels?
aged in wheat whiskey barrels.
That's pretty sweet. It's kind of strange that they're specifying this. I mean, I imagine they had other versions.
Yeah, well, wheat whiskey barrels are kind of hard to come by as far as beer drinkers go, I think.
Yeah, it's a very American thing making wheat whiskey. There's a couple of companies that do it, but...
Have you had a wheat whiskey?
I have had a wheat whiskey before.
Really?
And it's delicious.
Just one?
I don't remember which one it is. I know that it has happened.
Probably just one. So let's open it up and see what this beer is like.
Really great looking head on it for being a 14% barrel-aged old ale.
Yeah, it's I expected more tight knit bubbles, but it's kind of a fluffy head.
It looks nice. It's kind of a ruddy brown.
It's hanging out.
Yeah.
Too.
It's definitely got some shit in there, but I mean,
Yeah, it's reddish with some shit.
yeah, reddish and shit. Wow.
That smells really good.
Oh man, it's a ton of barrel.
Vanilla.
A lot of whiskey.
Vanilla.
Tons of vanilla.
Vanilla?
So much barrel vanilla.
Man, vanilla comes through big on this beer.
I'm getting a lot of caramel. Actually, that's a lie. The caramel's kind of an undernote beneath all of the barrel vanilla that is just exploding through the nose of this beer.
It's malty, basically. Malty vanilla. It's not hoppy.
Yeah,
you know, it's
that's kind
okay.
of it.
As far as negative attributes, it's not oxidized. It smells great.
Yeah.
It's not boozy at all.
Yeah, for 14%, I would expect my nose hairs to be singed off.
Right? I don't get any booze off this whatsoever. So it smells fabulous.
It smells great. Here, clink me.
Cheers.
Yeah, interesting.
All right. Well,
It tastes like barrel.
yeah, it does.
It's curious. I'm surprised at how little body there is. Mm-hmm. And
I thought this would be way more like
full.
yeah, and
I was expecting more fullness, more sweetness. Like I think there's a certain like spiciness that's also coming from the barrel. I'm getting a little bit of like baking spice, but it's like super duper barrel like vanilla. It's hotter on the flavor than the nose is. That's for sure.
the nose has no heat.
Not at all, but the flavor does. It's warming going down for sure.
Warming is one thing. When you drink it and like you get this like onslaught of just booze, that's another thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I've had plenty of beers from my cellar where I've drank them and it's like, yeah, this is not hot. And then a minute later, it's like, oh, I can feel that coming back up. Like, and I wouldn't call it a bad thing. I mean, for a 14% beer, you would expect these things to
You expect
happen.
some heat for sure.
But the initial booziness off of the nose and the flavor, it's kind of subdued.
It seems like the barrel kind of wasn't compensated for, so... Because whenever you put a beer in a barrel, it's going to add alcohol, which means it's going to thin out, and it's going to add a certain booziness. And normally one would expect that you would design a beer kind of with that in mind, and it doesn't seem like this is the case.
Typically, though, Old Stock Ale is, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it is.
Typically speaking.
Yeah, like just the regular version, yeah.
It could be that this year is not ready to open yet. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have some Old Stock Ale. You can see it down there from like 2012, 2011 that has been awesome.
It seems like the barrel didn't do this a whole lot of good. It seems like it smothered the flavor of the beer and was just replaced with all barrel.
Kind of, yeah. It's like a thin, woody...
I know what it's like to be thin and woody.
You do. It's okay.
It's solid. I would give it more time. Like I would give it more time for, like I said, the barrel to fall out and the flavors to kind of meld a little bit.
I think that the main complaint I have is the mouthfeel. It's not as rich and thick as it should be. It's kind of thin and boozy. So
yep.
No knock to North Coast. Typically, their barrel aged stuff is awesome, especially like their
Barrel aged Old Rasputin, for example.
It's on point.
Definitely.
Like, they know what they're doing. But this vintage, maybe it needs more time. Maybe it just sucks. Who knows? But that's what it is, and it is what it is. So, Matt.
So that's just one less beer from John Cellar.